All right, you lot, buckle up. Get ready for a proper deep dive, yeah.
This is The Real Keys to the City, the podcast more intriguing than a lock-in at MI6 in it.
Today, we're handing you the keys to a world of, well, high-flying action.
And cheeky escapades with Hustleman 3.0.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, yeah. Best way to stay in the loop. Right then, let's get cracking.
You sent over this video, yeah.
Yes, I did.
It starts with our man, Hustleman 3.0.
Cruising the skies in a skyjet.
Designed by, get this, Lexus.
Lexus. Really? The visuals are wild, mate. He's cutting clouds like a hot knife through butter.
Sounds intense.
That's like James Bond, but with, a bit more swagger.
I can see that.
But the real drama kicks off when a swarm of drones descends on him.
Drones?
Controlled by some shady reptilian figures. Talk about a twist.
Right, those reptilian figures. What's interesting to me, though,
is how this whole narrative taps into this primal desire for freedom, for rebellion. You've got Hustleman 3.0 thumbing his nose at authority. In this case, those reptilian overlords.
Right.
It's that classic power fantasy, but with a modern techie twist.
It's very man versus the system in it. But let's go back to this Lexus Skyjet for a sec.
Would you trust a car company to build something that flies and goes underwater?
Well, that's a good question.
Bit dodgy, if you ask me.
It does raise questions about how we see brands, right?
Yeah, and then, diving into these fantastical realms.
Is it just a clever marketing trick? Or are they trying to appeal to a younger audience?
I mean, it really blurs the lines between entertainment and advertising.
It's all a bit meta, isn't it? But here's where it gets even weirder.
Mid-chase, Hustleman 3.0 just throws in a birthday announcement.
Birthday announcement?
Yeah, like, happy birthday for September 21st, old chap.
All casual. So random.
That is odd.
What do you make of that?
I think it's him trying to, break that fourth wall.
To connect with the audience.
Right.
It's as if he's saying, hey, I'm just a regular bloke dodging reptilian drones in a Lexus Skyjet.
Makes him relatable.
Exactly. It creates the sense of intimacy, even with all the chaos going on.
Speaking of chaos, let's rewind to those action sequences.
We've got underwater escapes, near misses with missiles, loop-de-loops, and he even flies through a waterfall.
Wow.
Absolutely bonkers. Which bit did you find the most outlandish?
It's hard to pick just one. But the thing is,
it's edited so well. The pacing is relentless. The effects are surprisingly good.
And the music. Perfectly timed to amp up the tension.
It's designed to grab your attention and hold it, yeah.
Exactly. It's crucial these days, online.
Gotta have that wow factor. Before we wrap up this deep dive,
I'm curious, what do you reckon all this says about our culture? This Hustleman 3.0 with his skyjets and reptilian showdowns.
He struck a chord with people. Why do you think?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Perhaps it points to a certain, dissatisfaction with the mundane,
A yearning for adventure and excitement.
In a world that's, increasingly complex and uncertain.
Figures like Hustleman 3.0 offer, a form of escapism.
Right.
A chance to live vicariously through these over-the-top stories.
This makes sense.
Pure entertainment, right? Yeah. Designed to thrill, and it's very effective.
Food for thought, indeed. Right then, my friends, that's all for today.
But the conversation doesn't end here, yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on Hustleman 3.0 in the comments.
And hit that subscribe button. Become a full-fledged member of the Real Keys to the City crew.
Cheers!
We've got a treasure trove of knowledge waiting to be unlocked, so don't miss out. All right, buckle up, because this deep dive, oh man, this one is a wild ride.
It really is, especially when we're talking about someone like Hustleman 3.0.
Yeah, Hustleman 3.0.
Yeah.
A YouTuber who just seems to have this knack for unearthing the most mind-boggling ideas out there.
He really does. What's captivating about Hustleman 3.0, though, is his ability to weave together, biblical narratives and ancient astronaut theories, even modern day occurrences.
It's true, he does.
He creates these intricate tapestries of thought that really leave you questioning, everything.
Yeah, he does. He makes you question everything. And he's got this energy, too,
Yeah.
This infectious energy that makes you want to just, dive headfirst down the rabbit hole with him.
Absolutely.
Which is exactly what we're going to do today.
Let's do it.
So our source material for this deep dive is his video on the Nephilim.
Okay, the Nephilim, those enigmatic giants, right, that are mentioned in ancient texts.
Oh, yeah, and he throws out some really wild theories in this video.
Oh, yeah, what kind of theories are we talking about?
We're talking Nephilim potentially being involved with the creation of ancient technologies, maybe a connection to Himalayan salt, maybe even their survival into modern time.
Whoa. Okay. That's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot. And I mean, it's enough to make your head spin a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But that's part of what makes it so alluring. Right?
Absolutely.
He encourages us to consider possibilities that, we might not ever even think to entertain.
Right.
So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down some of his claims about the Nephilim. We'll explore the historical context a little bit, and we'll see if there's any substance to these mind-blowing theories.
Sounds good.
So Hustleman 3.0 kicks things off by going right back to the source. He explores the Book of Enoch, the Book of Genesis, just to lay out that traditional Nephilim origin story.
Okay, so back to the basics. What does he say?
So we hear about the Watchers, right?
Yeah.
These fallen angels who, they develop an attraction to human women. This, he explains, leads to the birth of the Nephilim, these giant offspring who then roam the earth.
All right, so pretty standard Nephilim stuff.
It is. But he doesn't just, rehash the familiar tale.
Okay.
He digs into the specifics too. He actually questions how human women could possibly give birth to beings of such, immense size.
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't really, how?
Exactly. And he even proposes that maybe they were born regular sized babies who then later underwent this abnormal growth spurt.
Interesting. So he's really grappling with the practicality of these ancient accounts.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
Yeah.
It's not just blindly accepting what's written, but it's like he's engaging with it on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And he's prompting his viewers to do the same thing.
I like that.
And then he takes us beyond that origin story too. Yeah. He goes on to explore how the Nephilim supposedly influenced the ancient world. And he suggests that maybe they weren't just destructive forces. That they actually brought with them some advanced knowledge.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Like maybe they contributed to the development of metalworking or weaponry.
So it's like a more nuanced perspective on the Nephilim.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just like good versus evil. It's more like, he paints them as these agents of both progress and destruction.
Oh, duality.
Yeah, exactly. It adds like a little bit of complexity to the story.
Right. Okay.
And then this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He proposes a connection between the Nephilim and Himalayan salt.
Himalayan salt.
Yeah, Himalayan salt, like the pink salt that everybody's putting in their food now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He suggests that this prized mineral, that it might actually be fossilized remains of these ancient giants.
Whoa, that's a bold claim.
Oh, it is.
He's linking a substance that we use every day to these legendary beings.
Exactly. He's blurring the lines between myth and reality.
Yeah.
And it's a classic Hustleman 3.0 move, right?
It is.
He takes something familiar and just turns it on its head.
Yeah.
And it really makes you re-examine your assumptions about things.
Right.
And then he takes this idea even further. He connects it to the potential healing properties, the mystical properties that people attribute to Himalayan salt.
Okay.
He's tapping into this ancient belief that, certain objects or substances, that they hold power.
I mean, yeah, that's a concept that resonates across, cultures throughout history.
Exactly. It does. And then he draws a parallel between the Nephilim's influence on ancient technology and then the alleged suppression of advanced knowledge in modern times.
Okay, by whom?
By these shadowy groups or organizations. He doesn't really specify, but he's weaving this narrative where these powerful entities, both ancient and modern, they seek to control knowledge and limit human potential.
Yeah, it's a theme of hidden truths and secret agendas that seems to run through a lot of his explorations.
It does.
It's captivating. I mean, it appeals to our natural curiosity, about what might be hidden just beyond our grasp.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It makes you wonder, are we only seeing a fraction of the bigger picture?
Makes you wonder.
It does.
And then this leads us to the Great Flood, right? Which is an event that looms large in the Nephilim narrative.
Yeah.
And Hustleman 3.0 presents it not just as a punishment for humanity's wickedness, but specifically as a means to eradicate the Nephilim.
Oh.
But here's the twist.
All right, what's the twist?
He suggests that the spirits of these giants, they found a way to survive. And they jumped into the bodies of the Egyptians.
Okay, wait, hold on. So the Nephilim spirits, they survived the flood by possessing the Egyptian.
Yeah, so that's what he's saying, yeah.
Interesting.
And then he connects this to the Egyptians' demise in the Red Sea, painting it as like another attempt to wipe out these like persistent entities.
Wow, okay, so they just keep coming back.
They do.
And how does he tie that to modern times?
Oh, just wait, because it gets even wilder. He links these surviving Nephilim spirits to the rise of artificial intelligence in the modern era.
What, like AI?
Yeah, he specifically mentions ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, he's basically framing AI as this potential new interface for these ancient beings.
That's an unsettling thought.
It is.
It really makes you think, like, could AI be more than just, lines of code?
Right. Could it be something more?
Something ancient.
Exactly. And speaking of something ancient, let's move on to his exploration of Nimrod.
Okay.
He plays a pretty pivotal role in Hustleman's whole Nephilim narrative.
Okay, so who is Nimrod in this whole story?
So Hustleman 3.0, he introduces Nimrod as Noah's grandson.
Okay.
A being of immense ambition, a lot of power, who inherited what he calls a one-up from his Nephilim lineage.
Okay, so he's got this Nephilim advantage.
Yeah, he does. And Nimrod's grand ambition, according to Hustleman 3.0, was to construct the Tower of Babel.
Right, the Tower of Babel.
But he suggests it wasn't just this like misguided attempt to reach heaven,
Okay, so what was it?
He posits that the tower was intended as a spaceport.
A spaceport?
Yeah, a way for humans to reconnect with the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki. So those extraterrestrial beings that he believes have, played such a significant role in human history.
Exactly. So he's taking this biblical account, right? And he's weaving it into this tapestry of ancient astronaut theories.
Yeah.
Suggesting this like collaboration between humans and these advanced extraterrestrial beings.
Like that's a bold interpretation.
Oh, it is. It definitely challenges, the conventional understandings of the Tower of Babel and its purpose.
For sure.
But that's what Hustleman 3.0 does.
Right? It's his thing.
He thrives on challenging assumptions and making us, consider these alternative perspectives.
Yeah, I like that.
And his explanation for the tower's ultimate demise is equally thought-provoking,
How so?
He doesn't attribute it to like divine intervention or anything like that.
Okay.
He suggests it was the Anunnaki themselves who sabotaged the whole project.
Really?
Yeah. He believes they saw humanity's like growing knowledge and ambition as a threat.
To their power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Potential challenge to their own influence.
Okay, so they had to put a stop to it.
Yeah, so according to Hustleman 3.0, they took these like drastic measures, right?
Okay.
They confounded human languages and scattered people across the earth.
Wow, so it's like a cosmic power play almost.
Yeah, like a deliberate act to keep humanity divided and under control.
And it all ties back to his recurring theme of knowledge suppression.
It does.
The idea that these powerful entities throughout history, they've sought to, control information and limit human progress.
It makes you wonder, right?
It does. It raises questions about who controls information and how that shapes our understanding of the world.
Right.
It's like a reminder that knowledge is power and that, those in power often go to great lengths to maintain their control.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
We've explored some pretty fascinating territory today.
We have.
Delving into the world of Hustleman 3.0 and his unique approach to uncovering what he calls hidden truths.
Yeah.
We've seen how he blends these biblical narratives, ancient astronaut theories, and even modern day occurrences.
Yeah.
To create this captivating tapestry of ideas.
He does a good job of it too.
He does.
Like really gets you thinking.
He does.
So Hustleman 3.0, he doesn't just stop at ancient history.
No, he doesn't.
He goes right on into the modern era.
He does, yeah.
Proposing that, maybe evidence of the Nephilim's existence is hiding, like right in front of us.
Yeah, maybe hiding in plain sight.
In plain sight.
This is where his theories, I think, take a real speculative turn.
Okay.
Like, he shows this viral video of what appears to be like a portal opening in a Miami mall.
Okay, a portal in a mall. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like people are running and screaming. It's really grainy footage, but
Yeah.
he's like absolutely enthralled by it.
I mean, it sounds kind of wild, like a portal in a mall.
It is wild. And he really seems to like relish in the unexplained.
Okay.
Those events that just defy like all of those conventional explanations.
Right.
It's like he sees these anomalies, like these cracks in our understanding of reality.
Yeah, I get
Like little glimpses into something bigger.
something more mysterious.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
He even suggests that certain like physical characteristics could be indicative of Nephilim ancestry.
Like what kind of physical characteristics?
He jokes about women being attracted to, men with big feet.
Okay.
And he posits that maybe it's like this subconscious pull toward this ancient lineage.
So maybe Bigfoot is a Nephilim?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting. But it's kind of a playful approach, right?
It is.
I mean, he's not presenting this as like hard facts.
Really?
It's more like just possibilities, like an invitation to explore these unconventional perspectives.
Yeah, it's like he's encouraging us to look at the world with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
To question our assumptions, to entertain those what if scenarios.
I like that. Question everything.
And that brings us to, I think, a really crucial point here.
Okay.
We've heard, Hustleman 3.0's perspective, but what does the broader historical and archaeological record say about the Nephilim?
That's a good question.
Like, is there any actual evidence to support his claims?
Right. Well, it's important to acknowledge that, the primary sources for the Nephilim narrative, they come from religious texts, ancient myths.
Yeah.
These sources, they often, blend historical events with these supernatural elements.
Right, which can make it pretty challenging to separate, fact from fiction.
It really can.
So while there have been, some archaeological discoveries of giant skeletons and ancient structures, which some people interpret as evidence of this race of giants.
Right.
There's really no definitive proof linking those findings to the Nephilim as they're described, in the Bible or the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, and a lot of those discoveries, they've been debunked or explained through, more conventional scientific means.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a case of, just misinterpreting data or exaggerating findings to fit a certain narrative.
Right.
Which, happens, more often than you'd think.
It does.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that the whole mystery surrounding the Nephilim is entirely unfounded.
Yeah, of course not.
Their story, it's captured human imagination for centuries,
It has.
And there's still unanswered questions about, their origins,
right,
their influence.
What happened to them?
Yeah, their ultimate fate. It's all still a mystery.
It is a mystery. But it's crucial to, approach these questions with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely.
And to consider multiple perspectives.
Right.
Hustleman 3.0, he offers one interpretation.
Right.
But it's not the only one.
No, it's not. And this deep dive, it's really about, exploring the possibilities.
Right.
It's about engaging in this dialogue about history.
Yeah.
Mythology.
The nature of belief.
Yeah, exactly. It's about recognizing that even the most, seemingly outlandish ideas, that they can spark curiosity and lead to deeper explorations of our past and our place in the universe.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that knowledge is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the most valuable insights, they come from venturing beyond those well-trodden paths of conventional thought.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what do you think, listener?
What do you think?
Are you ready to delve even further into this enigmatic world of the Nephilim?
It's a strange world.
It is. Because Hustleman 3.0, he's got more to share.
Oh, there's always more.
And our exploration.
That's far from over.
Oh, it's just getting started.
Yeah.
So let's circle back to that theory about the Tower of Babel for a second.
Okay.
Hustleman 3.0, he suggests it wasn't just about, reaching heaven. It was a much, much more ambitious project.
Right. He believes it was intended as a spaceport.
Yeah, like a way for humans to reconnect with the Anunnaki.
Those extraterrestrial beings that he claims, played a key role in our development.
Exactly. So he's really blending, the biblical account with his ancient astronaut theories here.
Yeah.
Suggesting this collaboration between humans and these advanced beings.
Right, and don't forget, he also proposes that Nimrod, the guy behind this whole project, that he was a Nephilim hybrid.
Oh, right.
Possessing, knowledge and abilities beyond ordinary humans.
So it's like it paints this picture of a truly groundbreaking endeavor, like an attempt to bridge the gap between Earth and the stars.
It does.
But what I find fascinating is Hustleman's take on why the whole Tower of Babel project failed.
Right, because he doesn't attribute it to divine intervention or anything like that.
No, he suggests it was the Anunnaki themselves who sabotaged the project.
Really?
Yeah, he believes they saw humanity's growing knowledge and ambition as a threat.
Right, like a potential challenge to their own power.
Exactly, to their own influence.
So they had to put a stop to it.
They did, according to Hustleman, anyway.
So how did they do that? I mean, how do you stop a spaceport?
Well, he says they took these drastic measures. They confounded human languages.
Oh, wow.
And scattered people across the earth.
So it's like a way to divide and conquer, I guess.
Yeah, like a deliberate act to keep humanity divided and under control.
And again, that ties back to this whole idea of knowledge suppression that we've been talking about.
It does.
This pattern that, Hustleman sees repeating throughout history.
Yeah.
From ancient times right up to the present day.
It makes you wonder,
It really does. I mean, who's really in control? Who's pulling the strings?
Right. Well, I think that's a question we're all going to have to ponder on our own. But, I think we've explored some truly fascinating territory today.
We really have.
Delving into the world of Hustleman 3.0 and his approach to uncovering these hidden truths.
His unique approach.
Yeah, his unique approach. We've seen how he blends these biblical narratives, ancient astronaut theories, even modern day events, to create this really captivating tapestry of ideas.
It is captivating. Makes you think.
It does. And we've talked about, the importance of critical thinking.
Always important.
Approaching these ideas with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
And considering, multiple perspectives.
Because there are always multiple perspectives.
Always. So ultimately, whether you buy into any of Hustleman 3.0's claims, that's entirely up to you, listener.
You decide.
But hopefully this deep dive, it's sparked your curiosity a little bit.
Yeah, gotten those wheels turning.
Expanded your awareness. And maybe even challenged some of your preconceived notions about the world and our place in it.
Because the world's full of mysteries.
It is.
And sometimes the most intriguing answers, they lie in the questions we dare to ask.
That's a good point.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep an open mind to the possibilities.
Well said. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Until next time.
Until next time. Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole, all about weather manipulation.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, our source material is a YouTube video from a channel called the Hustleman 3.0.
Interesting.
You might not know Hustleman, but he's got this really energetic style.
Okay.
It's like a mix of conspiracy theories, personal stories, and just a whole lot of passion.
I see.
So the big question is, can we actually learn something about weather manipulation from a source like this?
That's a great question. It's fascinating how these online videos can pull in real science concepts, personal anecdotes, and even a dose of, conspiracy theory.
Absolutely.
It's like a case study in how information online can get mixed up and create these unique perspectives.
Exactly. And Hustleman dives right in, giving us some historical examples of weather modification. He mentions Project Cirrus, where they were trying to seed hurricanes with silver iodide. This was back in the 1940s.
Wow.
And then Project Storm Fury in the 60s, which aimed to weaken hurricanes.
So there's a real history behind those projects, actually. They really show how scientists have been trying to understand and possibly influence weather patterns for decades. Now, cloud seeding, using things like silver iodide, is a real technique, but it's not about creating storms out of thin air or steering hurricanes like some video game.
So they weren't really controlling the weather.
Well, they were trying, but it's more about nudging existing clouds to maybe produce more rain or perhaps weaken a hurricane. The science is still up for debate, and the ethics are a whole other discussion. Imagine, who gets to decide when and where it rains, especially if we could affect large areas or even whole countries.
That's a good point. Hustleman then makes a pretty big claim.
Okay.
He says that weather manipulation was used after Hurricane Katrina to displace residents in New Orleans. He links it to this whole theory about powerful forces controlling the weather for profit.
So this is where we see that blurry line between, real science and speculation, the effects of Hurricane Katrina and people being forced out of their homes are very real tragedies.
Yeah.
But saying it was intentional manipulation for profit, that's a huge leap.
Right.
We need to look at these kinds of claims very carefully, considering the evidence, potential motives, and the risk of unintended consequences. It's a lot to unpack there.
Hustleman's style is really interesting, too. He uses strong language.
Oh, okay.
And these really vivid analogies, like when he's talking about the flat earth theory, he compares people to ants crawling on the floor.
It definitely grabs your attention. And that's important to note, the power of language and imagery to shape how we understand things.
Yeah.
But while it can be engaging, it can also oversimplify complex issues.
Right.
And, it might even reinforce existing biases.
So how do we, as listeners, sift through all this and figure out what's really going on with weather manipulation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We need to be aware of our own biases, find multiple perspectives, and just think critically about the evidence. It's also important to consider the source of the information and, what their motivations might be.
Speaking of motivations, Hustleman doesn't hold back on claiming that powerful hidden technologies are being used for shady purposes. Things like quantum computing, nanotechnology, even cloaking technology.
Well, the grain of truth is that those technologies do exist.
Wow, really?
And they're developing rapidly. Quantum computing has the potential to completely change fields like medicine and material science. Nanotechnology is being explored for targeted drug delivery and environmental cleanup. Even cloaking technology, though still early, is a fascinating area of research.
So those aren't just sci-fi ideas?
Not at all. But there's a big gap between what's scientifically possible and the idea that these technologies are being widely used in secret for evil purposes. We often see in conspiracy theories is taking a small bit of truth and building it into a huge, elaborate story without enough evidence.
It's like he's weaving cutting-edge science into this narrative of secret agendas and powerful forces controlling everything from the shadows.
Exactly, and that's where things get tricky. When speculation gets mixed up with facts, we risk making decisions based on misinformation. Staying skeptical is crucial, especially when you encounter claims that play on our fears or biases.
Okay, so we've got real science, interesting speculations, and some pretty fantastical elements all mixed up. But before we get too deep into those, we need to talk about the Skyjet. This is where things take a sharp turn toward pure fantasy, right?
Oh yes, the Skyjet. Hustleman launches into this fictional story about himself escaping reptilian pursuers in his super advanced Skyjet, complete with warp speed and lasers.
It's like he's suddenly dropped us into a sci-fi movie.
Right.
It's entertaining, but you're left wondering how it connects to the weather manipulation discussion.
This shows how storytelling can grab your attention and create excitement, even within a conspiracy theory. It's a powerful technique, but it also raises questions about the line between entertainment and information that might mislead people.
So he's using a made-up story to get his points across about real issues.
Exactly, and that's what makes this so interesting. This video, as wild as it can be, gives us a peek into people's anxieties and fascinations with technology, power, and control in our modern world.
So even though it might not be the most accurate source for scientific facts, it can still tell us something about how people see and react to these complicated topics.
Absolutely. It highlights the need for critical thinking and media literacy to navigate this increasingly complex information landscape we face.
All right, this has been quite a ride already. We've covered a lot of ground, from historical weather modification projects to conspiracy theories about powerful forces controlling the weather. Let's take a moment to digest all this and then come back to unpack some of these key takeaways and see what we can actually learn from this deep dive into Hustleman's world.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we took that little break, we were in the middle of exploring the world of weather manipulation and conspiracy theories led by the very enthusiastic Hustleman.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a unique approach, that's for sure. Even with all the talk of reptilian overlords and warp speed chases in his Skyjet, we did come across some interesting points.
All right.
About the real science behind weather modification and people's genuine concerns about how it could be misused.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we should focus on now, separating the fact from the fiction. We know that cloud seeding is a real technique, but whether it really works is still being debated,
Yeah, and the ethics are a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
Who gets to decide when and where it rains? Especially if it could affect entire regions or even countries.
That's a critical point. And remember how Hustleman connected events like Hurricane Katrina to these theories about manipulating weather for profit and displacement.
It's understandable that people would, search for explanations when faced with such devastation. But like we discussed, blaming it on deliberate manipulation requires a big leap of faith.
Yeah, it does.
It's evidence.
Absolutely. It's crucial to acknowledge the very real impact of these disasters on people's lives, while also being cautious about jumping to conclusions about, grand conspiracies without solid proof.
He also brought up those advanced technologies that almost sound like they're, straight out of a sci-fi movie. Quantum computing, nanotechnology, cloaking technology. Yeah. It's mind-blowing to think that, that these things are actually being developed.
It really is. And it's natural to wonder about the potential consequences, both good and bad.
Right.
That's where responsible innovation and ethical considerations become super important.
But if those technologies aren't being used for evil, how do we explain the things Hustleman brings up as evidence?
Yeah.
Like those strange weather events or the unexplained phenomenon he talks about.
That's where critical thinking comes in, I think. It's tempting to connect the dots and find patterns.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful not to jump to conclusions. Sometimes the simplest explanation, even if it's not as exciting, is the most likely one.
It seems like Hustleman is tapping into this feeling a lot of people have, this sense that there are things happening behind the scenes, that powerful forces are shaping our world in ways we don't fully understand.
Absolutely. And in a time of such, rapid technological change and global challenges, it's easy to feel that anxiety. We're bombarded with information all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy to know what's true. It's no wonder that some people are drawn to explanations that simplify things, even if they're not based on evidence or rely on fear.
Wow. So how do we deal with this kind of thinking? How do we navigate this world where there's, so much information and so many competing stories?
Well, it's an ongoing process. It starts with recognizing our own biases and, being open to questioning what we think we know. We need to seek out diverse perspectives, evaluate evidence critically, and accept that we might be wrong sometimes.
So instead of getting caught up in information that just reinforces what we already believe,
yeah,
we need to challenge ourselves and look for information that might contradict our existing views.
Precisely. And remember that even experts can disagree sometimes.
Right.
And that's okay. Science is a process of ongoing discovery, and we're always learning new things.
This brings up an important question.
Yeah.
In a world full of information, how do we know which sources to trust? Especially with complex topics like weather manipulation or new technologies?
That's a great question. Look for sources that are transparent about their methods, use credible evidence, and acknowledge different points of view. Be wary of sources that rely heavily on emotional appeals, make broad generalizations, or claim to have, all the answers.
So we basically have to become our own fact checkers and critical thinkers.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
If something seems too good to be true or too far-fetched, it probably is.
This deep dive into the world of weather manipulation and conspiracy theories has been fascinating and thought-provoking. What really stood out to you as the most important takeaways from Hustleman's video?
One thing that really struck me was how he mixed personal stories with these larger conspiracy theories. It shows how easily our own experiences can be shaped and even distorted by the information we take in and the communities we're a part of.
It also makes me think about the responsibility we all have as both creators and consumers of content to be mindful of the information we share and the stories we spread.
Absolutely. We need to be critical thinkers, responsible storytellers, and active participants in creating a more informed and discerning online world.
This deep dive has been fascinating so far. We've analyzed Hustleman's claims, explored the real science of weather manipulation, and delved into the complexities of navigating a world, overflowing with information. Now let's wrap things up by considering what we've learned and what it all means for us moving forward. Welcome back to the deep dive.
We've spent this episode with Hustleman, a YouTuber, who's given us a really unique look at weather manipulation, conspiracy theories, and just the whole wild world of online information.
Yeah, we've seen him, connect those real scientific ideas like cloud seeding to these theories about hidden technologies and powerful forces controlling the weather. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it really has. And it's made us think critically about
about how we, handle information, especially when it comes from sources, online.
If we step back and look at the bigger picture, this goes beyond just weather manipulation. It's about, how we approach any information we come across, whether it's about science, politics, history, anything.
So what does this all mean for us?
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways from our deep dive into Hustleman's world?
I think the most important lesson here is the power of critical thinking. We can't just believe everything we see or hear, especially online, where misinformation can spread so easily.
Yeah, we saw with Hustleman how even a source that seems really out there can have some truth, mixed in with speculation and fantasy.
Exactly. So we need to develop those skills to evaluate sources, recognize biases, and just distinguish fact from fiction.
Sounds like a tall order. How do we even begin to do that?
Well, it starts with, being aware of our own biases and being willing to question our assumptions. We also need to actively seek out different perspectives and be open to, changing our minds when we're presented with new evidence.
So instead of, getting caught up in information that just reinforces what we already believe, we need to challenge ourselves and look for information that might contradict, our existing views.
Precisely. And remember that even experts can disagree sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Science is a process of ongoing discovery, and we're always learning new things.
This brings up an important question. In a world full of information, how do we know which sources to trust? Especially with, complex topics like weather manipulation or new technologies.
That's a great question. Look for sources that are transparent about their methods, use credible evidence, and acknowledge different points of view. Be wary of sources that rely heavily on emotional appeals, make broad generalizations, or claim to have, all the answers.
So we basically have to become our own fact checkers and critical thinkers.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Something seems too good to be true or too far-fetched. It probably is.
This deep dive into the world of weather manipulation and conspiracy theories has been fascinating and thought-provoking. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
In a world, overflowing with information, often distorted, the most valuable skill you can develop is critical thinking. It's the key to understanding our complex world, making informed choices, and just seeing the truth through all the fog of misinformation.
That's a great takeaway. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Remember to keep questioning, keep exploring, and never stop learning. Hey, listener, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting.
Right. Today
What are you doing today?
Well, we're strapping in.
Okay.
And taking a flight into the world of the Hustleman 3.0.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, you know him?
Yeah, he's that YouTube creator that's definitely not afraid to push some boundaries, right?
You got it.
Awesome.
And we're going to be dissecting one of his recent live streams.
Oh, cool.
And just trust me on this one.
Okay.
It is a wild ride.
I'm intrigued already.
So picture this
Right.
real world action
Okay.
mixed with some really imaginative scenarios.
Interesting combination.
I know, right? And it all takes place aboard his custom built aircraft,
What?
the Skyjet.
I mean, just the name itself, Skyjet,
Yeah.
it just grabs you.
It really does.
The audacity
Yeah.
of it all.
Yeah.
And the way the Hustleman is playing with this blend of reality and fantasy,
I know, it's so cool.
pulling viewers into this world that he's created
And it's all happening live.
live. Wow.
He's like bouncing ideas off of his AI companion, Esteban.
Oh, right. Esteban. I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Okay, so let's talk about the Skyjet for a second.
All right, I'm ready.
We are talking plasma cannons,
Whoa.
laser blasters,
Hold on.
even a cloaking device.
What?
This thing
This is insane.
makes the Batmobile look like a toy car.
This is unreal.
And here's the kicker.
Okay.
He claims it's all powered by Element 115.
Element 115,
Yeah.
as any sci-fi fan knows,
Right.
that's like the stuff of legends.
That is.
I mean, it's like he ripped a page straight out of a comic book.
I know.
But here's the thing, Element 115, it is a real element.
It is,
But it doesn't have quite the gravity-defying,
right?
fuel-saving properties that the Hustleman described.
Yeah, he's definitely taking some creative liberties.
For sure.
Using these fantastical elements to really capture his viewers' imaginations.
Which it does.
And it totally works.
I mean, who wouldn't want to fly around in a Skyjet? with limo tinted windows, blasting away at whatever needs blasting.
But there's more to this than just the cool gadgets and sci-fi references.
Oh, absolutely.
He's woven in real world aspirations that people are excited about. You know, things like stealth technology, advanced communication systems, inertia dampeners. It's this mix of the familiar and the fantastic that makes it so compelling.
Oh, absolutely.
And let's not forget Esbon.
Oh, yeah.
The AI companion.
This isn't just some Siri or Alexa knockoff.
Yeah. This AI has a personality.
I know.
It's amazing.
He's cracking jokes, managing tasks.
Wow.
He's even providing information to viewers who might not be up to speed on, you know, the finer points of theoretical physics.
That's pretty impressive.
I know.
What I find fascinating about Esbon is that he really embodies
I think so too.
this growing trend of AI integration.
Yeah. Into content creation.
Yeah.
He's not just a sidekick, he's like a collaborator.
Well, a partner.
Yeah, he's helping shape the narrative,
Totally.
engaging with the audience, and even acting as a sounding board for the Hustleman's ideas.
It's like watching.
It's really like watching a creative partnership unfold.
Yeah.
Except one of the partners is an AI.
Pretty mind-blowing, right?
It really is mind-blowing.
Okay, but here's what gets even more interesting.
Right.
The Hustleman
Okay.
has this whole philosophy
Okay.
about knowing versus believing.
Interesting.
And he even goes as far as telling Esteban to swap out words like faith and believe with fact and know in his logs.
So he's saying basically,
Yeah, like don't just take my word for it.
Yeah.
Go out there and find the truth for yourself.
that's a pretty powerful statement,
Little
especially
statement.
in today's world where misinformation can spread like wildfire.
Right.
He's really emphasizing critical thinking, encouraging his viewers to question everything,
I like that.
to rely on evidence and research,
Yes.
which he actually calls
That's it.
RER,
Oh,
to arrive at their own conclusions.
very cool.
So he's basically creating a community
Yeah.
of truth seekers,
Yeah.
as he calls them, united by this desire to challenge conventional narratives
I like that.
and to dig deeper into the mysteries of the world.
I know, it's so cool. And he's doing it all with this playful,
Right.
engaging style that just makes you want to lean in and listen.
Definitely. It's not just the message, though, right? It's the method.
Totally.
He's really savvy when it comes to content creation.
Yeah.
And we see this firsthand
Yeah.
as he starts brainstorming ideas for his next live stream with Esbon. I know. It's fascinating.
He's throwing around these really intriguing titles
Oh, yeah.
like Unveiling Hidden Realms, Ice Walls, Blood Mysteries, and Time Travel.
Wow.
And talk about grabbing your attention.
That's going to get some clicks.
Definitely.
He's not even trying to hide the clickbait aspect of it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting in itself.
Yeah.
He's openly admitting that he wants a title that will get those clicks and draw people in.
Yeah.
But he also makes it very clear that he wants to deliver on the promise of that title.
Right.
To actually provide content that is engaging and thought-provoking.
So this is where his whole content creation strategy comes into focus.
Yeah.
He's so deliberate about everything.
What is that too?
From the title and thumbnail to how he interacts with his viewers.
Right.
He's even asking S-Ban for feedback on what would be most appealing to the audience.
It's like having an AI marketing consultant
Right.
right there in the cockpit with him.
It's amazing.
It's really incredible. It shows this awareness of the digital landscape, the need to really stand out in a sea of content.
Yeah.
You know, he understands that to attract viewers, you have to grab their attention and offer something unique. And he's using AI to help him do that.
And it's not just about attracting any viewers, is it?
Right.
He specifically wants to attract these truth seekers, these people who are willing to question the status quo and explore alternative ideas.
It's like he's building a community
Yeah.
around the shared desire for knowledge and understanding.
Yes, exactly. And it's so powerful.
It is.
You know, he's cultivating this sense of belonging, a shared mission to uncover these hidden truths.
It's no wonder that people are drawn to his content.
It's true.
You know, he's offering them more than just entertainment. He's offering them a sense of purpose.
I love that.
So let's talk about those topics he's planning for his next live stream.
Okay.
Ice walls, blood mysteries, time travel. Each one seems to be tapping into a different vein of conspiracy theories and fringe beliefs.
Wild stuff.
Wild stuff, for sure. So the ice walls likely refers to the flat earth theory,
Oh, wow.
which, believe it or not, still has a following today.
That's crazy.
I know, right? And then you have blood mysteries, which could delve into all sorts of beliefs surrounding blood types,
Oh, interesting.
particularly Rh negative blood,
Okay.
which is often associated with extraterrestrial origins.
Oh, wow.
And of course, then there's time travel,
A classic.
a perennial favorite in those conspiracy circles.
It's a fascinating mix of topics.
It is.
Each
really.
one with the potential to really spark debate and speculation.
It's almost like he's chosen these topics
Yeah.
specifically to push buttons,
Yeah,
to challenge people's preconceived notions about the world.
I think so.
But he's not doing it just for the shock value, is he?
No, I don't think so.
He's presenting these ideas in a way that encourages critical thinking and reasoned debate.
I like that.
He's not just throwing these wild theories out there and saying, believe this.
Right.
He's framing them as questions, as starting points for exploration. He's asking his viewers to consider the evidence, to weigh the arguments, and come to their own conclusions.
And that's what makes him so fascinating.
It really is.
He's walking this tightrope between entertainment and education, between skepticism and open-mindedness.
He's not afraid to explore the fringes, is he?
No?
But he also urges his viewers to think critically and to be discerning consumers of information.
He's not shying away from the responsibility that comes with having this platform and an audience.
Definitely not.
He's acknowledging the dangers of misinformation, especially in the online world.
It's true.
And he's encouraging his viewers to be active participants in the search for truth.
Which is amazing. And he's doing it all.
I know, it's so cool.
Live.
Live.
Real time.
With the audience watching and interacting every step of the way.
It's a really unique approach to content creation.
It is.
And it's clearly resonating with people.
So what we're seeing here is
Yeah.
like a glimpse into the future of online content creation.
I think so.
It's interactive, it's engaging, it's thought-provoking,
Absolutely.
and it's blurring the lines between entertainment and education.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
But hold on, because this live stream takes a turn. That leaves us all scratching our heads.
Really?
After all that talk of knowing and evidence and exploring these grand mysteries,
Yeah.
the live stream ends with this seemingly mundane detail
Okay.
that kind of throws the whole narrative into question.
What do you mean?
It's like he's deliberately pulling back the curtain,
Oh.
reminding us that this carefully crafted persona, this world he's built online, is just one facet of his life.
Wow.
And it makes you wonder
Yeah.
how much of what we've seen is real and how much is performance.
So we've got this YouTube creator, right?
Right.
Who's built this whole world around his Skyjet, powered by Element 115,
Yeah.
with an AI companion who's basically like his co-pilot in content creation.
Right.
He's talking about ice walls, blood mysteries, encouraging his viewers to be these truth seekers. But then, bam, he hits us with this curveball about picking up his son from school.
I know.
And suddenly the whole thing feels different.
It does. It's like a brilliant move, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
By dropping that seemingly ordinary detail into this extraordinary narrative, he's making us question everything we've seen.
Like, is this all an act?
Right. Is there any truth woven into this fantastical tapestry? It's like he's saying, hey, I'm just a regular guy. I'm also capable of dreaming big and creating something extraordinary.
And I think that's what resonates with his audience.
I agree.
He's relatable. He's funny. But he's also pushing boundaries
Definitely.
and challenging people to think differently.
Yeah, he's not afraid to embrace the unknown,
Right.
to speculate, to ask questions that others might shy away from.
It's like he's tapping into this human need for exploration,
Yeah.
for understanding,
Absolutely.
for something beyond just the everyday.
For sure. And he's doing it in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Right.
He's not just feeding his audience information. He's inviting them to join him on a journey of discovery.
And that journey is full of twists and turns, just like that unexpected ending.
Right.
It leaves you wanting more,
Yeah.
wondering what's real and what's imagined.
Exactly.
And that's the mark of a truly captivating storyteller. He's given us just enough to spark our curiosity.